The Joint Forces Forward Camp had the specific, compressed quality of a military installation on the night before the significant engagement. The ambient character of somewhere that understood what the morning would require, and that was, in the understanding, doing the particular, quiet work of the night before. The final equipment checks conducted with the methodical quality of people who had done them before and who were, in the doing, giving them the attention that the morning's stakes required. The weapon systems staged with the specific, precise quality of someone who understood that the staging was the last thing they controlled before the engagement's variables took over. The unit briefings concluding with the quality of briefings that had said what they needed to say, and that were, in the concluding, releasing the people who had received them back to the private space of the night before. Rail Movin had been in military camps on the night before significant engagements 3 times before this one. He was 32 years old, an Accord Joint Forces medical liaison, and he had the specific quality that 3 previous nights before had built in him, not the hardened quality. Not the performed equanimity of someone who had decided that the cost was acceptable, but the specific, honest quality of someone who had been present for the cost enough times to have lost the performed version and to have arrived at the genuine version, which was quieter and more settled, and less available for the speeches that the performed version was available for. He was in the medical tent at the second hour. The medical tent had the functional quality of a space built for the work and nothing additional. The equipment staged for the morning's anticipated requirements. The documentation current. The resource allocation confirmed against the casualty projection that the intelligence assessment's engagement scenario had produced. He had completed the projection at the 21st hour, and he had given it the attention the projection deserved. The specific, thorough attention of someone who understood that the casualty projection was not an abstract calculation, but the honest attempt to anticipate what the morning would cost in the people who conducted it. The projection's numbers were the projection's numbers. He had filed them. He was doing the final documentation review when the tent's entrance moved. General Sorrel Vane entered with the quality of someone who had made the decision to enter, and who was, in the entering, past the decision's deliberation and into its execution. The specific, committed quality of someone who was doing the thing rather than considering the thing. She entered and she assessed the tent's interior with the rapid, automatic quality of 22 years of field command that had made the immediate spatial assessment the natural first action in any space she entered. And the assessment's conclusions were integrated before the integration was visible. She looked at him, she said, "Are you alone?" He registered the question with the 6 years quality, the specific, practiced quality of someone who had been reading the meaning underneath the presenting language for 6 years, and who was, in the registering, present in the question's actual content rather than its surface. Not a social question, the specific operational quality of someone confirming a variable that the subsequent action required confirmed before the action proceeded. "Yes," he said. She was quiet for a moment. She began removing her armor. He watched this with the medical liaison's quality, the specific, comprehensive attention of someone who read the body and what the body contained, and who was, in the watching, reading the armor's removal with the same attention he gave the body beneath it. Not the performed removal of someone making a statement or communicating something through the gesture. The methodical, systematic quality of someone who knew the armor's systems with the complete familiarity of someone who had been wearing it for 22 years, and who was, in the removing, working through the sequence with the efficiency of someone for whom the sequence was second nature, but who was, tonight, doing it in a different context than the context it was second nature for. The outer plates came away first. He saw the right shoulder. He saw it with the medical liaison's trained quality, the specific, immediate reading of the structural consequence that the shoulder's visual presentation communicated to someone who knew what to read. The impact from the second month's 4th engagement. He had been at the medical tent's threshold when the unit had returned from the 4th engagement, and he had seen the movement quality in the subsequent briefings, and he had read, in the movement quality, the structural consequence that the standard field notation had not documented. The body's compensation for the structural consequence was visible in the shoulder's specific, adapted quality, the way the joint held, the specific, slight quality of someone managing a structural consequence with the body's own resource rather than the medical support the resource was substituting for. 6 weeks of compensation. 6 weeks of the body substituting its own resource for the medical support the structural consequence required. and the substitution visible in the secondary adaptations that the primary compensation had produced, the neck's specific. Held quality, the upper back's specific, carrying quality. The layered character of a body that had been managing one significant thing, and that had, in the managing, produced the additional things that the managing required. He looked at the left side. The left side had the accumulated quality of 3 months of the field, command's physical demands applied to a body that was already managing the right shoulder's compensation. 3 months of the campaign's operational tempo, the specific, continuous physical demands of a field command that was also managing the structural consequence and the compensation and the secondary adaptations. The left side's quality was the quality of a body running on a resource that had been drawn from without the replenishment the drawing required. He looked at her. She looked at him with the full, direct quality of someone who had come to the tent with a specific purpose, and who was, in the looking, in the purpose's execution. The specific quality of someone who had decided to be here and who was, in the being, committed to what the being required. She said, "I need an honest assessment, not the assessment you would give the command, the honest one." He gave her the honest assessment. He began with the right shoulder. He worked through it with the medical liaison's quality, the specific, thorough quality of someone who read the body's record with the comprehensive attention the record deserved. He described what the visual assessment communicated. The impact structural consequence, the 6 weeks of compensation, the secondary adaptations the compensation had required, the specific, accumulated quality of a shoulder that had been doing the field command function for 6 weeks with the structural support, the function required substituted by the body's own resource. He was clear about what clear meant. The shoulder would hold for the primary engagement's duration if the primary engagement's duration was within the standard operational window. The structural consequences compensation resource was the variable. The compensation had been drawing on the body's resource for 6 weeks, and the resource had the specific, finite quality of something that had been drawn from for 6 weeks without the replenishment that the drawing required. Within the standard operational window, the resource was sufficient. At the contingency deployment's projected duration, the resource would be at the limit. He described the left side. He described it with the same quality, the thorough, honest reading of what 3 months of the field command's demands applied to a body that was managing the right shoulder's compensation had produced. The accumulated quality. The specific, visible evidence of someone who had been giving the function everything the function required for 3 months on top of everything the function had required for 22 years before the 3 months. She listened. She listened with the quality of someone who had asked for the honest assessment, and who was, in the listening, present in the honest assessment with the full quality that the honesty required. Not the managed listening of someone processing operational information. The specific, genuine quality of someone who was being told accurate things about their own body, and who was, in the being told, receiving the accurate things without the management over them. Present in the accuracy with the full quality of someone for whom the accuracy was the thing they had come for. When he finished, she was quiet for a moment. "The morning's engagement," she said. "Yes," he said. "The contingency deployment," she said. "The honest assessment of the shoulder's operational capacity for the contingency's duration." He looked at her steadily. "The shoulder's compensation resource at the contingency deployment's projected duration will be at the limit," he said. "The limit is not the failure, it is the point at which the compensation's quality begins to affect the command function's quality." "My command quality will be affected," she said. "The shoulder's compensation quality will be affected," he said. "The command quality's relationship to that is yours to assess. I am giving you the medical picture." "The medical picture," she said. "Yes," he said. She was quiet for a moment. "No one else knows," she said, not a question. "No," he said. "The medical documentation has the standard field notation for the 2nd month's 4th engagement. The standard notation covers the surface presentation. It does not document the structural consequence." "You knew the structural consequence," she said. "Yes," he said, "from the movement quality in the subsequent briefings. The specific, adapted quality of someone managing a structural consequence, without the medical support the consequence required." "From the movement quality," she said. 6 years of this work," he said. "The body's record is visible to someone who knows what to read." She looked at him. "Why did you not document it?" she said. "You did not present to the medical tent," he said. The medical documentation requires the patient's presentation. You did not present. And if I had presented, she said, I would have documented it, he said, and recommended the medical support the structural consequence required. And the command function, she said, would have been the command's decision, he said, not mine. She was quiet with the specific quality of someone who has received accurate things. And who is? In the receiving, in the space where the accurate things are present without the management over them. 22 years, she said. He looked at her. Not the shoulder's record, she said. The complete record, 22 years of the field command, the campaigns and the outcomes and the specific accumulated cost of 22 years of being the person the Varath sovereignty sent when the campaign required the outcome. She paused. The body's record contains all of it. Yes, he said, it does. You have been reading the body's record for 3 months, she said. Yes, he said. Not only the field command's record, she said, the person's record. The body belongs to the person, he said. The body's record is the person's record. She looked at the tent's interior, the equipment and the documentation and the medical resources staged for the morning. She looked at the armor pieces set aside on the examination surface. What does the complete record show? She said. The genuine question, not the medical question, the underneath question, the question of someone who had removed the armor and asked for the honest assessment, and who was, in the asking for more than the shoulder's structural consequence. He looked at her. He looked at the right shoulder and the left side and the secondary adaptations and the specific, layered quality of a body that had been the field command function's site for 22 years, and that contained, in the honest character of what bodies contained, the record of what 22 years had required and what the requiring had produced. Someone who has been giving the field command function everything the function required for 22 years, he said, and who has been doing this without, he paused. He found the accurate word. Without the replenishment. The function draws from the resource. The body's record shows the drawing clearly, the campaigns and the outcomes and the specific accumulated evidence of someone who has been the function's complete commitment for 22 years. He looked at her. The record also shows the absence of the replenishment, 22 years of the giving. The record of the replenishment is not in the same proportion. She was very still. The replenishment, she said. The field command draws from the physical resource, and the medical record shows the drawing's evidence clearly, he said. But the field command draws also from the other resource, the specific resource that the function requires the person to maintain if the giving is going to be something the person can continue to give. The resource that the function does not replenish. He paused. The body's record shows the drawing from the physical resource. The other resource's drawing is in the record too, in the specific accumulated quality of someone who has been the function without the space for the person. She looked at him. You are reading more than the shoulder, she said. You asked what the record shows, he said. Yes, she said, I did. She was quiet for a long moment. The army, she said, the joint forces. They see the 22 years and the outcomes and the field command's quality. Yes, he said, they do not see the record, she said. No, he said, they see the function. The function is what the army requires, she said. The field command requires the quality the army needs to see. The quality the army needs to see is not the record, it is the function. Yes, he said, I understand that. Do you, she said. The genuine question, not the challenge, the specific, honest question of someone in the genuine space who wanted the genuine answer. He looked at her. 6 years of this work, he said. The medical liaison's function is the cost's documentation. The cost is what the campaign produces in the people who conduct it. I have been documenting the cost for 6 years across 3 campaigns. He paused. The cost is in the record. The function's presentation and the record are 2 different things, and the medical liaison reads the record. You have been reading my record for 3 months, she said. Yes, he said. Not the field command's record, she said. The person's record. The body belongs to the person, he said. When I read the body's record, I am reading the person's record. She was quiet for a moment. Tonight, she said. The 2nd hour, the night before the decisive engagement. She looked at the tent's functional quality, the equipment and the documentation, and the specific, modest character of the medical liaison's working space. I have been in the field command for 22 years. I have not come to a medical tent the night before an engagement. No, he said. I came tonight, she said. Yes, he said. Because, She paused, the quality of someone arriving at the genuine thing and finding that the arriving required the decision to complete. He was quiet, he gave it the time. Because tomorrow the engagement's outcome is not certain, she said. The contingency deployment's duration and the shoulder's resource and the intelligence assessment's variables, the outcome is not certain. I have been in engagements whose outcomes were not certain for 22 years. I have not come to a tent the night before. Why tonight? He said. She looked at him with the full, direct quality of someone who had come for the honest assessment and who was, in the coming, giving the honest assessment in return. Because you are the person who reads the record, she said. Not the function's record, the person's record. For 3 months in the joint camp, in the briefings and the field and the operational spaces, you have been reading the person's record, and I have known you were reading it. She paused. The specific quality of the attention, not the command attention, not the operational assessment attention. The medical liaison's attention, the attention of someone who reads what the body contains rather than what the function presents. She looked at him. No one in 22 years has read the person's record. He looked at her. The armor, he said. Yes, she said, the armor is the function's presentation. The presentation is what the Army requires, and what the command requires, and what 22 years of the field command has required. She looked at the armor pieces on the examination surface. Tonight the armor is set aside. Yes, he said. And the record is present, she said. Yes, he said. You are not performing the comfort, she said. The managed reassurance, the medical liaison's professional version of the difficult information made acceptable. No, he said. You asked for the honest assessment. Yes, she said, I did. She looked at him, and you gave it. Yes, he said. She was quiet for a moment, the specific, genuine quality of someone who has been in the honest space and who is, in the being, finding that the honest space contains something she did not entirely prepare for. Not only the shoulder's structural consequence and the contingency deployment's honest projection. Something else. The specific quality of someone who has been read accurately and who is, in the accurate reading, present in something that 22 years of the function had not produced. The engagement's outcome, she said. The morning. Yes, he said. The honest assessment, she said. Not the command's version. He looked at her steadily. The joint forces preparation is thorough, he said. The intelligence picture is as complete as 3 months of the campaign have been able to make it. The tactical plan is the best plan the available information and forces produce. He paused. The outcome is not certain. No honest assessment of a significant engagement produces the certain outcome. No, she said, it doesn't. The shoulder will hold for the primary engagement, he said. The contingency deployment is the variable. The contingency's outcome depends on the tactical decisions in the contingency's specific conditions. The unit's response quality. The command functions quality at the contingency's duration. My command quality at the contingency's duration, she said. Yes, he said. She looked at him. The honest assessment of that, she said. He looked at her. You have been in the field command for 22 years, he said. The record shows someone who has been giving the function everything the function required across 22 years. The shoulder's resource at the contingency's duration will be at the limit. The command functions quality at the limit. He paused. Is the command function of someone who has been doing this for 22 years. The limit's quality is not the same limit for you as for someone who has been doing this for 5 years. She looked at him. That is an honest answer, she said. That is also kind. It is an honest answer, he said. The kindness is in the accuracy. She looked at him for a long time with the full quality. The field command quality and the underneath quality, the 22 years and the tonight, and the armor set aside and the record present. He made the field rations equivalent of something warm. He did this with the specific, practical quality of doing the thing the moment required. The simple provision of the medical tent's basic resources. The warm thing made and set in front of her without requiring the making to be acknowledged or the provision to be more than what it was. She looked at it, she looked at him. 3 months, she said. Yes, he said. The joint camp, she said. The briefings and the field and the operational spaces, the medical tent in the margin of the operational spaces. Yes, he said. You have been reading the record, she said. Not only mine, the joint forces. The specific accumulated record of 3 months of the campaign's cost in the people who have been conducting it. Yes, he said. That is a specific kind of work, she said. Yes, he said. What does the joint forces record show, she said, after 3 months? He looked at her. People who have been doing what the campaign requires with the quality the campaign requires for 3 months, he said. The record shows the cost of the 3 months. He paused. It also shows the specific quality of people who have been doing significant work, and who have in the doing built the particular quality that significant work builds in the people who do it. Not only the cost, the building. She looked at him. The building, she said. Yes, he said. The record shows both, the cost and the building, they are in the same record. She was quiet for a moment. My unit, she said, the Varath forces. The specific quality you have been reading in them across 3 months. Yes, he said, the record shows it. What does it show, she said. A unit that reflects its commander, he said. The specific quality of a unit that has been commanded by someone who gives the function everything the function requires, and who expects the genuine quality from the people who perform it. Not the performed quality, the genuine quality. He looked at her. Your unit has the genuine quality. She looked at him. You have been reading my unit's record, she said, and finding me in it. Yes, he said. She was quiet for a long time with the quality of someone who has been in the honest space, and who is, in the being, receiving the honest things with the full quality the honesty deserved. Not the processed quality of someone integrating information. The specific, genuine quality of someone who is present in the honest things without the management over them. The morning will come, she said. Yes, he said. The engagement will proceed, she said. Yes, he said. The outcome will be what the outcome is, she said. Yes, he said. She looked at him. I have been in the field command for 22 years, she said. I have known what the morning would require, and I have been in the knowing the field commander, the function, the presentation. She paused. Tonight I am in the tent. Yes, he said. Tonight you are in the tent. The armor is set aside, she said. Yes, he said. The record is present, she said. Yes, he said, and the function is not the complete context, she said. No, he said, it's not. She looked at him with the full underneath quality. The quality of the person who had come to the tent at the 2nd hour and who had asked if he was alone, and who had removed the armor and received the honest assessment, and who was, in the tent's honest space, present in the thing that the honest space contained. They talked, not the operational discussion, the personal registers conversation, the specific, genuine quality of 2 people who were in the honest space, and who were, in the being, speaking from the person rather than the function. She told him about the first campaign, 22 years ago. The first field command, 21 years old and responsible for the unit's lives in the first engagement's conditions with the specific, honest quality of someone who had been given the command, and who had, in the giving's receipt, understood for the first time what the giving meant in the specific, concrete sense of the people whose lives were the giving's content. Not the strategic version, the personal memory. The first time the function had required everything, and the first time the giving had produced the cost, and the specific, honest quality of someone discovering, in the first campaign's conditions, what the field command was in the honest sense rather than the institutional sense. He told her about the first posting, 6 years ago. The first time the medical documentation had contained what the medical documentation contained. The first time the body's record had been the complete, honest record of what the campaign had cost in the people who conducted it. And the first time he had understood that the body's record was the honest record, and that the honest record was the thing the function required him to read. The first posting had the specific quality of someone learning that the cost was the significant thing, and that the learning was the permanent kind. The kind that did not allow the return to the performed version, that made the genuine version the only version available. They found in the telling the specific quality of 2 people whose different work had been, across the 6 years and the 22 years, building toward the same honest understanding of the same honest thing. The cost and the building and the record and the genuine quality of work done because the work required doing, and because the people the work was for required the genuine quality rather than the performed version. The tent held them both in the 2nd hour and the 3rd. At the 3rd hour's turn, she began putting the armor back. He watched her work through the sequence with the methodical quality of someone for whom the sequence was second nature, the systematic, efficient quality of someone returning the function's presentation to its required state. The armor's components returned with the same precision they had been removed with. He watched with the medical liaison's quality and the 3 months' quality and the tent's 2 hours' quality, and he was, in the watching, present in the specific quality of this moment. The armor's return, the function's presentation restored, the morning's approach in the darkness beyond the canvas. She finished the sequence. She stood. She looked at him with the full quality, the field command quality and the underneath quality simultaneously, the 22 years and the tense 2 hours and the armor back in its place and the morning 3 hours away. The shoulder, she said. Yes, he said. The honest assessment, she said. Yes, he said. I will be back, she said, after the engagement. He looked at her. For the medical documentation, she said. The quality of someone saying the accurate thing and in the saying more than the accurate thing. Yes, he said. For the medical documentation. The complete assessment, she said, not the standard field notation. No, he said. Not the standard field notation, the complete one. She looked at him with the full quality. The field commander's full quality and the underneath quality and the 22 years and the tonight and the armor back in its place. After the engagement, she said. After the engagement, he said. Rail, she said. His name in the Varath personal register, not the medical liaison's designator, not the Accord's representative. The name said by the person to the person. In the tent at the 3rd hour's turn with the armor back and the morning approaching and the honest space present in the specific, quiet way of something that had been built in 2 hours, and that was, in the building, real. He looked at her. After the engagement, he said. Yes, she said, after the engagement. She left the tent with the quality of someone who had come at the 2nd hour and who had asked if he was alone and who had removed the armor and received the honest assessment and given the honest things in return and who was, in the leaving, taking the tent's 2 hours with her into the morning's approach. He sat in the tent after she went. He sat with the empty provision and the armor's absence from the examination surface and the 3rd hour's quality and the darkness beyond the canvas and the morning 3 hours away and the engagement and the contingency deployment and the shoulder's resource at the contingency's duration and the outcome that was not certain. He sat with all of it. He sat also with the 2 hours and the honest assessment and the first campaign 22 years ago and the first posting 6 years ago, and the building as well as the cost and the unit that reflected its commander and the after the engagement said in the personal register, and the complete assessment that was not the standard field notation. Outside, the camp continued its preparation with the patient, quiet quality of the night before, the final equipment checks, and the specific, personal preparations, and the morning's approach in the darkness and all of it, the decisive engagement and the contingency and the outcome that was not certain. Inside the tent, the honest space was present in the specific, quiet quality of something that had been built in 2 hours from the armor removed, and the honest assessment given and received, and the accurate things said, and the genuine things found in the saying. The kind of honest space that the cost and the building and the record and the genuine quality of work done, because the work required doing had always been capable of building. In the people who did the work, when the armor was set aside and the record was present, and the function was not the complete context. The morning would come, the engagement would proceed, the outcome would be what the outcome was, and after the engagement the complete assessment, not the standard field notation, the complete one, which was as the 6 years and the 22 years and the 3 months and the tense 2 hours and the after the engagement said in the personal register had been building toward, the only honest assessment there was. The tent was the tent. The honest space was real. The morning was 3 hours away, and the complete assessment waited, patient and certain on the other side of it.